You're listening to the Fierce Fatty Podcast, episode 117. Why is the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics prescribing disordered eating for fat clients? Let's do it.
Perfect.
I'm Victoria Wellesby, TEDx speaker, best-selling author and fat activist. I have transformed my life from hating my body with desperately low self-esteem to being a courageous and confident fierce fatty who loves every inch of this jelly. Society teaches us living in a fat body is bad, but what if we spent less time, money and energy on the pursuit of thinness and instead focused on the things that actually matter, like if pineapple on pizza should be outlawed, or if the mullet was the greatest haircut of the 20th century. So, how do you stop negative beliefs about your fat body controlling your life? It's the Fierce Fatty Podcast. Let's begin. Hello, welcome to this episode of Fierce Fatty. So glad that you're here to hang out with me. Oh, look at that. Rhyming. I'm so good. I'm feeling myself today. Oh my goodness, I look so cute. If you're just listening in audio, I've got my hair in two little bunches. Got some pink lipstick on and my grey round glasses and my new jumper that says fat icon. Oh, love it. Someone bought me it as a present. Let me see. Fat icon. Where is it from? And I get dressed. Yeah. And I get dressed. So if you're in the States, you can get it. You can get it. Oh, you can get it in Canada too. I'm in Canada, obviously. But here's the thing. It's in US dollars. And then when it ships, they put on a fucking handling fee. Not and I get dressed, but the UPS, fucking UPS. So the jumper is $49.90, so $50, and then the shipping handling, which I paid on the other end. So then shipping is $20, and then shipping that I had to pay not because of the company but because of UPS was 47? How much? No, 41.78. Rude. So yeah, you can order it if you're in Canada, but it's gonna cost you twice as much as it should, unfortunately. So if you're in the US, enjoy it. Jealous. Well, I'm not jealous. I've got it, but I'm feeling for the other people in the rest of the world who don't want to spend a gajillion dollars on handling to UPS. Fucking suck my tits. Yes. But anyway, the reason why I was saying that is because I wanted to share that when I woke up, I didn't feel good in my body. I thought, you know what, my hair looks a bit shit. I need to go to the hairdressers. And I was just like, not a lot, but I love it when it comes up. Because then I can tell you about it and then tell you about what I'm doing to make myself feel better. And so I put my hair in some these bunches and put on this new jumper, put on some lippy, put on some eyeliner. And then I'm like, oh, turns out that I didn't suddenly become really ugly in a day. Just the perception that I have of my body has changed for whatever reason. And so then I'm like, okay, what could have triggered me to not feel as great? It could be that my hair is looking a little bit wonky, or it could be that I had a date. Not last night, the night before. It was fine. I'll give it like a 5 out of 10. Nothing bad. nothing great. But I had said to the guy, how do you feel about dating someone who's fat? And he said, I've never dated anyone. All of my past partners have been, quote, normal size. And he said, he put it in quotations, normal size, because he didn't know what the right word was. So, that's fine. I told him, it's straight size. But it made me feel unsafe to be with him in regards to, he wasn't like, it just happens to be that I've ended up with people who are straight size, but of course I see the beauty in all different types of bodies. That's why I'm here, because you are a fucking smoke show, obviously, which is what my brain says, right? My brain is like, well, if you have if you're here, then you must find me attractive. But he was like, you know what? Yeah, you have really nice green eyes. And that's what attracted me to you. And it was like, oh, the eye compliment, the eyes, same as the smile. You have such a beautiful face. And he wasn't outwardly saying, despite your body, you've got nice eyes. He wasn't saying that, but it kind of just made me feel unsafe. Unsafe in regards to, am I going to hook up with this guy? That was my plan. Motherfucker over here haven't had sex in 2 years, so I'm come on now, give me some do. So I just thought, am I gonna give him the pleasure of seeing my gorgeous fat body, because it would be his pleasure, for him to not fully, to educate him, when he's not like, oh yeah, you're really fucking great. Because I am really fucking great. Do you know what I mean? So, it was a no from me. And then there we go. The next, 2 days after the date, waking up not feeling as good about myself. So, our brains are not walking around in a vacuum. We're influenced, and even someone like me who does this for a living, I too have a human brain that is influenced, and I want to be loved and worshipped and all that type of stuff. And so when someone is not worshipping me, they're wrong. They should be. If they're not worshipping me, then it's obviously triggered me, which is interesting. So it's just giving me information, and now I can just give myself some nice self-care, and it's all good. And that whole process of me thinking about that took 90 seconds. And it takes me out of the belief that, I'm not good enough, or whatever, I was believing, into, there's a part of Vinny that is feeling like they're not good enough. And it was triggered because, this guy said this or that or whatever. And so what can I, adult self Vinny, do to support that part of me that is triggered? So anyway, little story for you. But I wanted to do this episode. Last week, but I had so much to talk about. What was last week's episode? Oh yeah, the fucking Wegovy drug bullshit. And then this bullshit happened as well the same week, and so I decided to do the Wegovy thing first because I was steaming mad about it. So I had to do that first, and now I'm like steaming mad about this. And so we're talking about the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, which is and if you're not familiar with who they are, Wikipedia tells us that it is a 501c trade association in the United States. I don't know what that means, what 501c, probably something like for profit or something, who knows. Anyway, with over 112,000 members, the association claims to be the largest organization of food and nutrition professionals, comprising many registered dietitian nutritionists, RDNs, nutrition and dietetic technicians, registered NDTRs, and other dietetics professionals. So that's who they are. So they're kind of like a association, a group. You're like, oh yeah, I'm a member of, and so they release guidelines these motherfuckers, they released guidelines on how to deal with fatties. Okay, they did a review of the research, and they released these guidelines, which, surprise, fucking surprise, are something that's pulled out of 1993 and is really fatphobic. They released them during National Eating Disorder Awareness Week and during Black History Month. I mean, how fucked up is that? And the reason why that's super fucked up, in case that's not really clear, is that fat phobia, weight stigma, disproportionately affects people, black people, people of colour, and people who are struggling with eating disorders, especially those who are fat. So, I mean, they're just like, go for the home run. Come on. Let's really stick it to them. Let's, increase the stigma that black fat people face. And those with disordered eating or eating disorders, let's just really give it to them, girls. Come on. Let's just increase the stigma, is what they thought was a great idea. So we do have a little bit of power here to make some change, because they've opened their opinion piece to a survey that is available to submit until March 25th. Links for everything I'm talking about is going to be in the show notes, fiercefatty.com/117. And so you can go on there. There's going to be a link straight to the Survey Monkey thing. It's very easy. You can, by the way, you can submit more than once, so you don't need to put your email or anything. And so it just says, are these recommendations helpful? Blah blah blah. So there's like 5 yes/no questions, and so the answers are no, yes. The final one is a yes, and then the rest of them are the no's, and then there's a little space box there to say, what do you think? And then you can tell them what you think, and then there's like, who are you kind of thing, like, are you a client, a member of the public, blah blah blah. Anyway, and that's it. So it takes, like, depending how much you put in the text box there, it'll take probably about a minute. So if you feel compelled, the link is going to be in the show notes, fiercefatty.com/117, and look for the Survey Monkey link. I'll make sure that it's the one of the first links up there. So let's go into what they've recommended and see if, because they've done this review of evidence, right? See if what's going on here, because when a body, an association, an authority comes out with recommendations, people listen. And so it's important that we understand exactly what they're saying, what they're recommending, and if there is any holes in their arguments, to try and get us to be critical thinkers and not be scared to say, oh, well, yeah, this governing body, or and the that's what they call the acronym, and is recommending this. So maybe I'm silly for believing in health at every size. Maybe I'm ridiculous for not being on a diet, because this governing body has looked at the research and they're saying this. One thing to remember is that individuals, organizations, are not free from weight bias themselves. Right, and so that's always going to be informing what's put out into the world. But let's get into it. The first thing I want to read is ASDA's response, and so ASDA is the Association for Size, Diversity and Health, and ASDA are the folks that hold the registered is it trademark? The thing where it's an R. Your trademark of health at every size. And the reason why you always see it with a little R as a registered trademark is because ASDA, ASDAH, have protected it so that it cannot be used nefariously. Because motherfuckers are going to be up here being like, health at every size diet, health at every size, how to lose weight. And so because of that protection that ASDA hold as a group, as a community, it's not one member that holds that, it's basically the fat community that holds that trademark. They've protected health at every size from that bullshittery that intuitive eating has seen, right? Intuitive eating is not trademarked, and as we see, intuitive eating diets, intuitive eating lose 75 pounds in 12 minutes with intuitive eating, all that type of nonsense. Anyway, okay, so ASDA has written a letter because AND has said in their recommendations, basically, let me tell you what they've said. Trigger warning, I'm going to be talking about calories, amount of calories that they recommend. So if that doesn't feel good, skip ahead 1 minute. So they have recommended that fat clients need to be put on a 1200 to 1500 calorie diet a day, and they need to not follow health at every size or a non-diet approach. Okay, so they're saying, so not only are they saying eat nothing, but don't you be following health at every size. Don't be engaging in health promoting activities and behaviors, because what they think health at every size is, because they did tons of research, they think health at every size is a way to lose weight. And so they say, don't do health at every size because you won't lose weight. Well, you fucking yes. Oh my goodness. It's like saying, don't use your car to drive across a lake in the water because the car will sink. Well, yeah, no shit. That's why you use a fucking boat. That's not what use a car on a road. It's just, anyway, this is what ASDA says. Recently, AND completed a review of health at every size interventions as part of their adult weight management guideline that included many fat-phobic and weight-biased recommendations. One of the proposed recommendations is for adults who are O-words. It is suggested that RDNs or international equivalents not use health at every size or non-diet approach to improve BMI and other cardiometabolic outcomes or quality of life. We want to start by acknowledging the trauma caused by and being reactivated by AND's actions. We see the frustration of not only the continued violence of recommendations such as these against fat people, but the violence of attempting to discredit HAES, which to many of us represents not only a safe path to health and healthcare, but a community where fat people are celebrated. The action of AND are not surprising. Dietetics, the concept of health, and the system of healthcare were built on and continue to thrive on fat-phobic, racist, ableist, eugenist, and violent beliefs. It is doubly upsetting that their proposal comes during Black History Month, a time when the racist roots of fat phobia should be centered, rather than further promoting ideas that most harm fat Black people. White supremacy plays a key role in the development of guidelines such as these, as well as in our response to the recommendations. We see it in the way we value the written word, especially when it includes copious citations and rubrics and people with an alphabet of credentials behind their names. So the first bit of that paragraph, it links, so white supremacy is underlined, it links to a really nice, like 5 pages, is it 5 pages? Oh no, it's like 9 pages. Link of information on white supremacy culture. Really interesting. Again, I'm going to make sure it's in the show notes. But there's the concept of white supremacy culture. We're so steeped in it, but there's certain things that it's just built into our society that come from white supremacist ideas, and this goes into that. But let me just read out like a few bullet points of. I'll read out the top, what they are. It's just it's like 9 of them. So perfectionism, sense of urgency, defensiveness, quantity over quality, worship of the written word, only one right way, paternalism, either or thinking, power hoarding, fear of open conflict, individualism, I'm the only one. Progress is bigger, more. Objectivity. Right to comfort. Okay, so underneath all of those are bullet points and then antidotes to those things. Just like a side note. And so if you're thinking like, why are they talking about how the written word and how responding with the written word and how their guidelines with all of the links and blah 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 is steeped in white supremacy, that's why. Okay, so continuing, none of this makes their guideline the truth. We see it in the binary thinking that one must be right and the other must be wrong. That for their adult weight management guidelines to remain correct, they must tear down any ideas that say otherwise. We see it in the urgency to respond immediately. We see it in the white martyr and white savior responses, both at and in our communities. We see it in the power hoarding because fat people were not at the table. Black, Indigenous and other people of colour were underrepresented at the table, and the ASDA and HAES community was not at the table. This underscores a reality of our work. While we work to make healthcare less harmful in the now, we ultimately cannot reform a system whose core and foundation is white supremacy. The review conducted by the adult weight management team was limited in many ways. The first and most important of which was conducting an analysis on HAES as an intervention for adult weight management. As many of you reading this will likely already know, the Health at Every Size principles reflect the research that weight does not need to be, quote, managed. That pursuit of weight loss is not effective in making fat people thin, nor is the minimal amount of weight loss by most who attempt to do so sustainable over the long term. Blah, 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 talking more about that. Of the 5 outcomes they analyze that make up their recommendation, 3 of them are antithetical to Health at Every Size principles: lower BMI, % weight loss, and smaller waist circumference. For the other 2 outcomes, blood pressure and quality of life, only 2 articles each were included to draw their conclusions. Interestingly, only studies specifically using the term quality of life were included. Other studies which included similar measures but used terms like psychological distress were not included in the team's analysis for quality of life. Yeah, because, psychological distress is what a lot of people experience on a diet. So yeah, that's important to look at. Another major limitation of their analysis was that HAES is a singular intervention rather than an approach to health that reflects existing research, most of which does not explicitly name health at every size. Any intervention that improves health markers regardless of weight is part of the HAES toolkit. So just a little thing in there just to make sure that we understand that is that not everyone references health at every size in their research. Not everyone is aware of it, but we will have research that says, hey, if you lower your stress, your health is improved. If you go fishing twice a week, your stress levels are improved and therefore your health is improved. So those types of studies are not going to be linked to health at every size. But it is a part of the health at every size paradigm, right? Because it's not saying you need to lose weight to be healthy. It's saying that health is a very complicated topic and there's lots of different ways to be healthy, okay? And outside of losing weight, people of all sizes have the same outcomes, right? Okay, so any intervention that improves health markers regardless of weight is part of the HAES toolkit. The search was limited to papers naming HAES or non-diet in their intervention, along with other inclusion criteria such as only including programs overseen by dietitians and only including studies that were limited to fat people, which is problematic, right? We're only going to let this study count if it's overseen by dietitians. Why? Why? Why is why? Why? But why? And only looking at fat people. Well, only looking at fat people, we can't say, oh yeah, we need to look at a wide variety of sizes of people to see how, fat people do compared to straight size people, how this gender compares to that gender, how, all of these different variables. And so they're saying, no, only fat people. Well, we can't see if that intervention worked for straight size people and also worked equally well for fat people, Okay, so the result of their search choices, including the mischaracterization of health at every size, led to the identification of 7 total studies included in their review. So what they did was they looked for health at every size as a tool to help people lose weight. How much evidence are we going to find to say that health at every size is going to help people lose weight? None, because that's not what health at every size is. Oh my God. Okay, so despite lacking sufficient evidence to make claims about HAES, they decided to write a recommendation that HAES interventions not be used, though none of the studies showed harm and none of the reported health outcomes measures worsened during HAES interventions. For example, one of the papers included was designed to measure heart rate recovery time. Their results showed significant improvements in this measure in the HAES group compared to the control group. This paper was only used in the analysis for BMI as an outcome by the team. Other studies showed improvements in dietary quality, LDL cholesterol, and binge eating. These outcomes were not evaluated, and these results were not considered in making the proposed guideline statement. Events like these remind us why the community elected to trademark health at every size and HAES, and why the community chose to have a community-led organization hold the trademark. White supremacy and fat phobia will continue to rise up to discredit our work. HAES was not created by any one individual and continues to evolve with our community. Likewise, we collectively protect it against efforts like this by banding together, by remembering that their attempts cannot take away what we have built, as trauma-inducing and violent as they are. We at ASDA are proud that the organization has come so far to be able to respond quickly and thoughtfully to events such as these, and we're even more proud to return to our work of building a new world with liberation for all at the center. So loved that. And others have gone in even deeper to the particular recommendations and the evidence they looked at. Now, it's very interesting that if you want to see the evidence that they looked at, so if you want links to what they looked at, you have to pay them for it. Of course. Which again, hello white supremacy, hello gatekeeping. It's just, and it's not like they didn't pay for these studies, right? They're just like, here's a list of the studies that we looked at, right? So it doesn't cost them anything to say, yeah, we looked at study A, B, C, D. It's behind a paywall, of course. And so it makes it harder. It makes it harder for the average person, the average dietitian who's not that familiar with this, has not seen the backlash, to go in and be like, oh, I want to go in and have a look and see, get in a little deeper. It's behind a paywall. They'll probably just be like, whatever, I'd be like, well, whatever, they know what they're talking about. They've done the research. Therefore, I can just, I'll just take it for face value. I know that HAES is bad. I know that the non-diet approach is bad. Which, gets on my floppy tits. So let's have a look at going in a little bit deeper as the problems in here, and turning it over to Reagan Chastain. And Reagan's newish, I guess in the last few months, Reagan has got a Substack newsletter thing. So basically you subscribe. So I paid like $50 for the year to get thrice weekly emails from Reagan where Reagan is writing these fucking amazing pieces. I think you as well, you can get them free. Yeah, you can, because I'm linking to this thing. So I don't think you don't have to pay, but if you want to, you can. And you can pay like a monthly thing, which is probably just a few bucks, right? $50 for the year. So consider doing that. I'll link to it in the show notes. But what I'm going to pull quotes from. I'm not going to read the whole thing, which is Reagan. The title is the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics choosing weight stigma over science? ? Answer: yes. That's me adding that. Yes, is the answer. But some key points here that we're going to look at. So headline of this paragraph is, so here's the issues. So here's the issues that Reagan is pointing out. So first is body size as pathology. So, quoting, first they are adopting the concept that simply existing in a higher weight body, regardless of actual health status, is a pathology to be solved by weight loss, including using first-person language, which has been championed by those who sell dangerous and expensive weight loss methodologies, making me wonder if they are in some way aligned with those interests. By the way, so Reagan has I've spoken about this on the blog before, and Reagan has spoken about this. The person first language, which originally came from the disability community, and is very controversial in that community. A lot of people say they like it. A lot of people say that they really don't like it, and it's super stigmatizing. And so person first language is saying someone with fatness versus saying a fat person. And the reason why the critiques on that is that it's again making it seem like fatness is such horrible thing that we don't want to say they are fat. You know, like we don't have to say person with brown hair, because we're not worried about offending someone because they have brown hair, because we don't think that brown hair is a bad thing. Having a fat body isn't a bad thing. And so we don't need to be using person first language like it is. And it's kind of like they're saying with euphemisms, but even more so with the O words, which has even more layers of shit on top of it. So anyway, just a little sideline. Hope you like my commentary on these articles. They recommend that all higher weight people be given traditional weight loss interventions in order to, quote, improve BMI, percent weight loss, waist circumference, blood pressure, and quality of life. Note that 3 of their 5 goals focus on body size and not health. One way to entrench yourself in the weight loss paradigm is to make body size manipulation, rather than actual health, the goal of the intervention. They've tripled down on this here. I don't believe that weight loss is shown to be ethical, evidence-based intervention to lower blood pressure, but we'll get into that in a moment. Suggesting body size manipulations as a way to improve quality of life suggests that people who experience weight stigma should just change themselves to suit their oppressors. As a queer person who came out in the mid-90s, this has echoes to me of the ways that so-called, quote, conversion therapy was suggested to solve homophobia for queer people by making us straight. Since weight loss fails the vast majority of the time, this pins their higher weight clients' hopes of a better life on that intervention that almost never works, and an industry that blames its victims for the intervention's failures. And so she continues there. Another one of the titles is weight loss as an ethical evidence-based intervention, and that's one of the problems. We've spoken about this many times on the show, how it's not an evidence-based intervention, so I won't go into that. But the next point is very small amounts of weight loss create, quote, health benefits. And so that's what they're saying, and is saying that if you lose a little bit of weight, you are going to see health benefits. And this is what Reagan says. Their guidelines utilize the claim, created not through clinical trials, but through attrition due to the abject failure of weight loss interventions, that 3 to 5% weight loss can result in cardiometabolic health improvements. So, in the case of a 200-pound person, we are talking about only 6 to 10 pounds. continuing, guidelines specifically against weight neutral care. And so let me just like wrap up that last one actually. Do we really think that losing 6 to 10 pounds is going to result in, quote, health benefits? I mean, where's the evidence? you know, are you going to lose 6 pounds and then be like, oh my God, I'm the healthiest person on the planet? No, that's not going to happen. And also, like, just to recognize that some of the things that people do to lose weight, like maybe changing moving their body, diversifying what they eat and things like that, could be helpful towards changing health outcomes marginally, but, just a side note there. Okay, so guidelines specifically against weight neutral care. So that's one of the problems. The first thing to notice is that by creating outcome goals based on size/BMI rather than actual health, they are trying to discredit weight neutral interventions on the basis that they don't create weight change. This is a common trick of the weight loss industry and the research they fund. If you make weight loss a target outcome, then you discredit weight neutral interventions from the start. If you make health improvements the desired outcomes, then weight neutral interventions are shown to provide great benefits with less harm. It's helpful to recognize this trick that is used to continue to advance the weight loss paradigm by putting the focus on size instead of actual health. Also, by only naming HAES an anti-diet, they have ignored the more general category of weight neutral interventions. That's exactly what ASDA was saying, is that we've got this kind of the official term, the term that they've trademarked, but then there are weight neutral interventions which fall under the umbrella of it, but they don't have that name, health at every size. So they're just ignoring anything which is weight neutral, right? So Reagan ends with broader questions. Given the fact that "and" is so blatantly not just ignoring research around the failure rate and potential harm of the proposed interventions, but in fact actually attacking the evidence-based weight neutral paradigm, I think we need to be asking some serious overall questions about these guidelines and the "and." 1. Are the people creating these guidelines ignorant of the research, or are they unable to understand it? Or do they know about it and understand it, but are going against it on purpose? If the former, why are they in charge of writing proposed guidelines? If the latter, why? 2. Is this profit-driven? Are the people driving these recommendations financially invested in the weight loss paradigm? Are there funders? Is this about their pharmaceutical ties? Are some critical mass of their members so invested in selling weight loss that they are pressuring the organization to create guidelines that go against the science? 3. Are these decisions political? The "and" does significant lobbying and has put out numerous papers supporting the weight loss paradigm. They are ignoring the evidence and doubling down in order to avoid having to say that they've been wrong. Are they ignoring the evidence and having to say that they have been wrong? 4. Is their goal to avoid competition with those dietitians who are working from an evidence-based, weight-neutral perspective by threatening the work and careers of dietitians who won't swear fealty to the weight loss paradigm? So that is Reagan Chastain. And again, links to everything in the show notes. And I want to share one last thing, which is an Instagram post from softening.nutrition, which points out that the evidence... Oh, God. Let me just read this. Okay, so this is from Softening Nutrition. And it's a multi-slide Instagram post. And the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics Evidence Analysis Library, EAL, practice guidelines for treating individuals in larger bodies are stigmatizing, oppressive, and harmful, and in direct opposition to providing passionate, inclusive, equitable care for all folks. Okay, so AND, and then we've got another acronym here, EAL. So the AND have added this to the evidence analysis library. Okay, so EAL, that's what that is. Let me go to the next slide. The EAL claims to be a, quote, synthesis of the best, most relevant nutritional research on important dietetic practice questions. Okay, and then there's some other words here, and we go here to slide 5. That their recommendation on how much calories someone should be consuming is the same energy needs of a 2 to 3 year old toddler, and will likely result in drastic underfeeding of any adult body. So not only is this unsustainable, but it's also wildly unethical, as it prescribes restricted, disordered eating patterns to folks in already stigmatized bodies, putting them at even higher risk for developing an eating disorder. And here's the thing that I really want to share here. Okay. Statement 4.6 recommends that registered dietitians do not use health at every size or non-diet approach to, quote, improve BMI, blah, blah, blah. So it says, full stop. Note the grading of the recommendation listed here for this statement is 2D. As outlined in the beginning of their guideline, 2, so there's 1 and 2, 2 equals weak strength of recommendation, and D, so you have A, B, C, D, very low strength of evidence. Basically, the least evidence-based guideline grading possible. So they're saying we're making these recommendations, but the strength of the evidence we're providing is very weak. It's like they've given themselves an F, in brackets, F. But, you know, the average person looking at this, they're going to see that at the end of the sentence it says brackets 2D. You're going to be like, oh, okay, 2D is like, that's the link to a reference. That's like for some note at the bottom. You're not going to be like, okay, 2D, what does that mean? I'm going to look it up. I'm going to go and have a look. Oh, 2 means this, D means that. You just don't look at that stuff, right? Yeah, so it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. Well, it's not, you know, but it's, you know, it's like they tell on themselves, right? They tell on themselves. But sometimes you have to do a little bit of digging to get them to tell on themselves. You know, when you get these studies of like, massive weight loss in participants of a study shows that anyone can lose weight. And then it's like, massive weight loss. And then you go and you look and you see the massive weight loss they're talking about is like 3 pounds. And then they're like, the participants. Who are the participants? Oh, it was 3 mice in a lab. Oh, really? And so you see this big, like splashy kind of, fat people are fucking horrible, and then you have to do a bit of digging, and a lot of times it means that you have to pay to get the information, and people don't do that because it's sexier just to be like, oh yeah, fat people are horrible, fat people need to lose weight, you know. So anyway, so to summarize, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics and released guidelines on how to treat fat patients. And this was during Eating Disorder Awareness Week and during Black History Month, which is flabbergasting considering their recommendations are so harmful to Black people and other people of color and those who have a history of disordered eating or eating disorders. So perfect timing, amazing, love it. Their recommendations are to eat as many calories in a day that a toddler needs. And so eat like a 2 to 3 year old. That's how many calories that you as an adult are allowed. And then they say, do not subscribe to health at every size or the non-diet approach, as these are not effective. These are not effective at making fat people thin, which they got right. They are right. Health at every size won't make fat people thin because that is not what it is designed to do. And it's not what it is about. So, and A-N-D, even share in their recommendations that the evidence that they have put forth to support their claims is graded 2D, which means the, quote, weakest and lowest strength evidence. So they're telling on themselves that this evidence is pretty shit that they're putting forward. So if you think that Anne's recommendations are as fucked up as many people do, then you can go and tell them their recommendations are open for public comment until March 25th, 2022. There's going to be a link around here somewhere for you to be able to do that. It's very quick and easy. It's going to take probably about a minute of your time. So go tell them if you think that it's pretty fucked up that they're recommending fat people only as much as a toddler to be healthy. So that is our episode today. Thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Do I have anything to tell you? No. Yeah, I don't think so. I'm hungry, so I'm going to go and get some lunchy poos. Do you know what? Oh my God. Some of you are going to be like, no duh. Like... Okay, so because of my dieting throughout my life, I had never eaten a kebab because I was like, no, I will never eat such a thing. Fucking eye roll. Anyway, and then for the last however many years, multiple years, I've been a vegetarian, and as you know, I've spoken on the episode, if you don't know, recently in the last couple of months, my body was like, I want some meat, please. And so I said, okay, buddy, here you go, here's some meat. Anyway, there is a kebab place across from my house, and it has these like, I've gone in there and got like falafel before, very nice, and the kebab thing that they've got looks really lovely. And anyway, so I went in there and I said, I'll have a try of your chicken. And I was a bit nervous because, I'm still kind of new to meat, right? It was so fucking good. Oh my God. It was, like the meat was like kind of a little bit, like, because it's, they have it on that roly thing and then it's like gets like browned. Oh, it was like kind of like a little bit like, like not crunchy, but, kind of a little bit, it was really nice. And since I had that was maybe like 2 weeks ago, I've gone back and I've had three kebabs in total. And as well, because then as well with the kebab you can get it'll give you a little cup of lentil soup, and the lentil soup, oh man, so good. And I was just like, shit, fuck, I mean, diet culture, and probably fucking me being like, I don't know, it's going to be not good because it's, on a spit or something. So probably racism as well, has stopped me having this joy in my life of this. And I'm 37. And like, what are the things that I haven't eaten? Because, I haven't, cause sometimes you haven't tried something because you've never had the chance or you've not been exposed to it. But I've definitely had many chances to eat kebabs. And of course there are some kebabs that are probably not as nice, the type of stuff that, you get after a night out. And, but this is really nice. And all of these things, like the joys that diet culture takes from us, right? Man, am I going to go get one for lunch now? Am I? I'm thinking about that lentil soup. That lentil soup was good. Yeah, I'm going to go for one for lunch. Yeah, it's across the street. I'm looking fabulous. Let's go do it. There we go. Thanks for that lunch recommendation, everyone. That great one. Good one. Okay, so thanks for hanging out with me, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay fierce, fatties, and I'll see you in a while. Alligator. Goodbye. Thanks for listening to the episode. And if you feel ready to get serious about this work and want to know when the doors open to Fierce Fatty Academy, which is my signature program where I teach all about how to overcome your fat phobic beliefs and learn to love your fat body, then go to fiercefatty.com/ waitlist. Again, that is fiercefatty.com/waitlist to get your name on the waitlist for when Fierce Fatty Academy, my signature program, opens.